Hi, this is Stacia, and today we're going to look at an endgame. This endgame is from the book 100 Endgames You Should Know, and it's also a course now on Chessable, which is accompanied by videos by I Am John Bartholomew, my favorite chess YouTuber and streamer. If you haven't seen his stuff, I definitely recommend it. And I'm not going to go through every endgame because they already do that for us in the course. But as I go through my studies, when I find something really interesting, I'm going to share it with you guys because I think it'd be really cool to look at and to learn together. So let's look at this one. So white is up a knight in this position. That doesn't always mean a win. For example, if these pawns are off the board, that's a draw because white does not have sufficient material to checkmate. But since the pawns are on the board, this is a different scenario. This endgame actually is winning. But here's my challenge to you. How do we win this? It's not so easy. So if you'd like to, pause your video and see if you can find the one winning plan. Go ahead and do so now. Okay. So I think to find the winning plan, you first have to rule out the obvious plan. The obvious plan is to try and checkmate the black king. Not so easy. All right, let's see what happens if we try to checkmate him. I'm going to play knight f5, get my knight closer, and I'm going to play what I think is a fine plan for black, which is to just toggle between the a8 square and the b8 square. Okay, king a8, knight e7, king b8, king here, king a8. Now I can deliver a check on c7, and the king comes to b8. No problem for black. I can bring my knight out this way, he goes to a8. And it gets really difficult to see how we're going to checkmate this king. If I get my king closer, king c7, that's actually stalemate already. The king would cover the b8 square, the pawn covers the a7 square. The pawn is blocked, stalemate. So I can't do that. So I guess I'll hop my knight around some more. Maybe king here. Oops, sorry, king a8. Let's go here. Now I can deliver a check again, I thought. I could put my knight here. King c8 now, notice this is covered. But after I come back here, king b8. The problem with this is that we'll never checkmate the black king. The king cannot come in and help. The pawn's guarding these two squares. If I ever bring my king to c7, it's stalemate like we saw. And the knight is not capable of covering the a8 square and the b8 square at the same time. So for that reason, this plan fails. Eventually, we would draw by repetition, so we need something else. Let's go back to the starting position. Now I'm going to show you the winning plan, and I think it's very interesting. We're going to bring the knight closer once again. King a8, knight e7, king b8. And this time we're going to try a new plan. The plan is to sacrifice our knight on the c6 square. Why? Well, we want to distract this pawn, and then once the pawn is out of the way, maybe we can queen our pawn. This is the winning plan, but you do have to do it correctly. If I go knight c6 check right now, it is true I'm distracting the pawn, and I'll take it. But now this is a draw. The problem is black has the move king c8, taking the opposition. Now I really don't have a way to win anymore. I could play b7 check, king here, and yes, I could play king b6, but that's stalemate. So for that reason, in this position, we can't play knight c6 check yet, but we can force black to go to a different square. So I can play the waiting move, king c5. As long as I'm covering the c6 square with the king, I think we're good, because basically that's where that black pawn is going to end up. So now black's going to play king a8. And once they do that, knight c6 check, or knight c6 wins the game. You might be thinking, well, that doesn't look forced. It's not check, so I don't have to take the knight. But let's look closer. Can't go here, and now the knight is guarding b8. That means black's in zugzwang. Pawn takes is the only move, and now king takes. And again, black is in zugzwang. He has to go to the b8 square. It's the only move. And now when we play the move b7, now we have this familiar pattern. The pawn is guarding here, here, and the king is guarding c7. The king is also guarding the pawn, so black has one move, king a7, and now we simply escort our pawn. And I'll show the end because it's aesthetically pleasing. Queen b3, obviously the best move, cutting off all the squares for the king, forcing him back. And now checkmate. So one last thing to look at. So I was noticing that after king c5, black could play king c8. Oh, actually, I'm in error, aren't I? I thought black could play king c8, but the knight conveniently guards that square. So after king c5, black is again in zugzwang, forcing the winning variation. And we'll look at it one last time. Check. I'm sorry, it's not check, but it is zugzwang. Black cannot move the king anywhere, so he must take. We take, king here, and now b7. The king is forced out. We escort our pawn, make a queen, and win the game. So I hope you enjoyed this endgame. I'll be doing some more, only the ones that I find most interesting. So stay tuned for more chess. Thank you and bye.